Okay. Last class we started off discussion from diseases and immunity. Right, and we were talking about body defenses. We had to start from factors that can, if you keep hold of those factors, they can help you to prevent the spread of pathogens. So let's talk about those factors. Firstly, clean water supply, very important. In places where there is no clean water supply, there are many waterborne diseases that can be spread. Because of clean water supply is very important. Second, food hygiene is also very important. Food hygiene includes what? Number one, washing hands before preparing food. Before preparing food. Washing hands before preparing food. Keeping animals away from food. Not storing food at your room temperatures for long period of time. For long periods. Keep raw meat away from other foods. Okay. Third is your personal hygiene. That is also very important. Okay, like keeping care of yourself. Okay, like washing hands. All right, and keeping yourself clean before. That is also important to prevent the spread of pathogens. Water disposal very important. Countries that do not have proper water disposal. Okay, water disposal. Okay, for example, places that do not have proper water disposal, proper sewage treatment. Where waste from washrooms and every kitchen and all of them are mixed. Okay, there's no proper sewage lines. Okay, then obviously disease will be uh, spreading from there. Fifth is sewage treatment, like I just told you, that is very important. Okay, if sewage is not treated properly, okay, or many pathogens will be starting to stay there, and then disease will be spread. Very common disease, that is your cholera. Very common and very easily spread. So let's talk about cholera in detail and let's see what that is. Okay, so it's a serious infectious disease that is caused by bacterium Vibrio cholera, sorry. It is caused by bacterium Vibrio cholera. Vibrio cholera. Vibrio cholera. Okay, it can spread through water and food that has been, contaminated with feces from an infected person. Water and food that has been contaminated. With feces from an infected person. Infected person. Okay. Alright, and where does it live? It lives and breeds in the small intestine and produces a toxin that stimulates the cells lining of the intestine to secrete it. And produces a toxin. It stimulates the cells lining the intestine to secrete chloride ions. That stimulates the cells lining the intestine to secrete chloride ions. Okay. Alright. So what will chloride ions do? Chloride ions basically accumulate in the lumen of the small intestine, and that increases the concentration of the fluid in the lumen, lowering its water potential. Okay. So what will happen? Once this water potential will become lower than the water potential of the blood flowing through the vessels in the wall of the intestines, it will move out of the blood into the lumen of the intestine by osmosis. Is this clear? What chloride ions do? Chloride ions basically accumulate in the wall of lumen of the small intestine. That will increase the concentration of the fluid in the lumen. Obviously, when more solid is coming inside, the fluid will become more concentrated. And when fluid becomes more concentrated, water potential will be decreased. And water potential in the lumen decreases and will be lower than the water potential of the blood. Then water will move out of the blood into the lumen. Okay, that's why we have diarrhea. Watery feces, basically. This is why. Because the water is moving from the blood into your lumen of the intestine. Is this point clear to everyone? What your chloride ions do?
Clear.
Rest of you, clear?
Ma'am, could you repeat?
Yes. See, I am saying that let's say this is your small intestine, wall of your small intestine, okay, and this is your blood flowing. Okay, we are saying that it stimulates the cells lining in the intestine to secrete chlorides. Let's say chlorides are deposited here. Okay, this is your lumen of your small intestine, for example. Okay, there was already fluid running here. Because of excess chloride ions, do you think the fluid will become concentrated or will it stay dilute?
Concentrated.
Very good. Right, so it will become the fluid will become concentrated. Okay, great. Now what will happen when your fluid becomes concentrated? Water potential will be decreased or increased?
Um, I don't really know, ma'am.
Anyone else? What will happen to your water potential when concentration increases?
It decreases.
Very good. Why? Because we have more solute, right? Less free water molecules because of more chloride ions. Now, does this make sense, Umar? Less free water
Yes,
molecules.
ma'am.
So now water potential decreases. Okay. And if this my lumen has less water, it will take water from the blood. The blood will start to lose water and it will enter your lumen of small intestine. So more and more water will enter, more and more water will be lost via your feces. That's why you have diarrhea.
Okay, ma'am.
Rest of you is this clear? Ayla, Abdul Basit, Ahmad, and Ibrahim.
Yes, miss.
Oh, this is what
Yes, Miss
happens.
Clear.
Okay. Ahmad and Ibrahim. Okay. So infected person basically suffers from diarrhea, okay, in which large quantities of water is lost from the body in watery feces. Diarrhea. What happened to this? Okay. All right. In which large quantities of water are lost from the body as watery feces. One second. Let me de-share this. Okay. Let me de-share this screen. Okay. All right. Watery feces. Okay. Without treatment, that may also occur. Okay. Because of dehydration, loss of chloride ions. Treatment is oral dehydration therapy and antibiotic because it's a bacterial disease. Okay. Immune response, you will talk about antibodies. Like you saw in the last chapter, they're made by lymphocytes and are helped to destroy pathogens. Sorry, and are used to destroy pathogens. Okay, so they are produced by lymphocytes. You can also say help to destroy your pathogens or disease-causing organisms. produced by lymphocytes. Okay. So in the body, there are thousands of different types of lymphocytes, obviously, which produce different sort of antibody. Okay. And antibody is a protein molecule with a particular shape. Antibody is a protein molecule with a particular shape. Uh, they have a complementary shape. They have a shape complementary to that of antigen as well, because that's what makes an antigen antibody complex. Now, each pathogen has its own antigens which have specific shapes. Okay. So, in order to destroy a particular pathogen, antibody molecules must be made which are basically absolutely complementary to the antigens on the pathogen. Okay. So, the antibody molecules bind with the antigen and phagocytes destroy them. All right. So, if a pathogen basically enters the body, it is likely to meet a large number of lymphocytes. And one of these may recognize the pathogen as being something that is foreign. Okay. And then that will be your that will have complementary shape when your what was I saying, lymphocytes identifies it as something, its antibody can destroy. Okay, because maybe it has attacked you before as well. Okay, so basically this lymphocyte will start to divide rapidly by mitosis, and that will make a clone of lymphocytes just like itself. Okay, these lymphocytes will then secrete their antibody, and that will then destroy the pathogen. Is this clear? How all of this will happen?
Yes, miss.
Rest of you?
What is the difference between a lymphocyte and a phagocyte?
Lymphocyte produce antibodies. Phagocyte digest, engulf the pathogen and perform phagocytosis and kills them. Clear?
Clear.
Okay, rest of you, any questions? Ahmed, Ibrahim is clear? Umar?
Yes.
Clear, ma'am.
Okay, good. Now, if I talk about memory cells, so When a lymphocyte makes copies of itself, not all of them will be making antibodies. Okay, some of them will simply remain in the blood and other parts of the body and will live there for a long time, and those are called memory cells. So when a lymphocyte clones itself, like clones means make copies of itself. So when a lymphocyte clones itself, not all the new cells make antibodies. Some of them simply remain in the blood remain in the blood and other parts of the body. And they live there for a long time. Okay. And if the same kind of pathogen enters into the body again, enters the body again, memory cells will be ready. Okay, and will make antibodies ASAP. Memory cells will be ready. Waiting for them, and they'll be able to make antibodies very quickly to kill the pathogens before they have time to produce a large population. Okay, they will be able to make antibodies very quickly and destroy the pathogen before it multiplies. You can note this down, please, and we'll talk about your vaccination. Okay, everyone's done.
I'm done.
Raila, Ibrahim, Ahmad, Basit.
Yes, Miss
Okay.
Done.
Okay, then I'll move on. Let's talk about your vaccination. Hmm. Vaccination and then active passive immunity. Okay. We'll finish on the chapter today, inshallah. Chapter 10 will be finished today, inshallah. Oh, sorry, not antibody. Yeah, vaccination. Astaghfirullah, sorry. That's right. Vaccination. Okay. Does anyone know anything about vaccine? How would you define a vaccine?
Medicine that cures pathogens or kills pathogens, sorry.
Medicine that kills pathogen. Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
Vaccine contains dead pathogens that
Hmm.
are injected in the body to train the immune system to build
Very good.
antibodies for the actual virus.
Very good. Very good. Yes, rest of you. I'll ask everyone. Just go ahead by yourself. Otherwise, I'll start calling you. Yes. Yes, Ibrahim. What do you think a vaccine is? Ibrahim.
Something that makes the body produce antibodies.
Okay. Emmett. It has weakened pathogen needed for the body to recognize it. And body will do what after recognizing it? Meanwhile, I'll let you tell me what is a vaccine while Emmett is typing out his answer. Yes.
Vaccine is a weakened pathogen that is injected into your body.
Okay, fair enough. Good. Basit, yes.
Miss, vaccine is a weakened or dead pathogen which is injected in the body and it causes the body to make antibodies.
Very, very good. Right, so all of you have a clear concept that it contains. Okay, Emmett has it right. Does it produce antibodies which will mark them for phagocytosis or directly destroy? Very good, right. So, concept is clear in everyone's mind that it contains some weakened or dead pathogen, and that basically it's in easier words I can explain it to you by saying that it gives the body a head start that something like this comes produce antibodies. Okay, before like actually contracting the disease, it gives your body a heads up. Like imagine there are uninvited what do you say, guests who just come unannounced. Okay, they come at a gate and then you realize guests are coming, and there are guests who tell I will come next week. Okay, so guests who come unannounced, okay, for example, we were just passing by and we just came at your house, okay. So obviously you will have less time to prepare for them, okay, food or whatever, proper like arrangement and all, right? Obviously you will then do on spot whatever you can, right? And people who tell you from before that okay fine, next week we have plan of visiting you, so obviously you will plan from before, you will make something, arrange properly, make proper arrangements, right? This is clear. So if your disease comes unannounced, your body will have to make antibodies on spot. On spot as in like it will take time, but obviously on spot as in that it does not know that someone's going to attack me. Okay, so it's going to be unannounced. And if you already have a vaccine, if you're vaccinated against a certain disease, okay, and then you get contracted disease, so your body will be prepared from before that okay fine, I can contract this disease, and when this disease comes, I have these antibodies and I will make them quickly. Okay, for example, in the morning you prepare the food and you're like, guests come tonight, I will, serve this. And you make something and you put it aside and you're like, fine, if guests come, I will make this. And then if guests come unannounced, then obviously you have to cook on spot. Okay, make something on spot, do something easy on spot, obviously, because you cannot tell the guests, come and sit down, I will go and cook for 6 hours. Okay, obviously you have to make something easy and quick. Right? Same is the body's case, right? Body has to make antibodies very quickly, otherwise it will take over the body and kill you. Right? So remember this way. Okay, so vaccine contains weakened or dead viruses or pathogen. Let's say pathogen better. That normally causes disease. Now, some vaccines do not contain complete viruses or bacteria, but only their antigens. Okay, or you can say pathogens basically. Some vaccines do not contain complete pathogen, rather only their antigens. Okay. So when the weakened pathogen or their antigen are introduced into the body, they are recognized by the lymphocytes that can make antibodies. Okay, because obviously that have the ones that have a complementary shape to their antigens. Okay, so lymphocytes will multiply and produce antibodies just like they would after the infection, and they would also make memory cells which would give them long-term immunity. So when an actual attack happens, when you actually contract the disease, okay, the body would take half the time, okay, because the body will already have antibodies made, okay, and it will be very easy to destroy the pathogen. Is the concept of vaccine clear? Yes.
Clear.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, now let's talk about active and passive immunity. So body has active immunity, or you can say a person has active immunity to a disease if their body has made its own antibodies and memory cells that protect against the disease. Person achieves active immunity to a disease against a disease if their body made its own antibodies and memory cells. Memory cells. So it can be achieved by firstly having the disease and recovering from it. This is called natural active immunity. Natural active. Second is by being vaccinated. This is called artificial active. Artificial active immunity. Okay. And if your body does not make its own antibodies, other gets it from someone else, that is your passive immunity. So other type is passive immunity. And it can be achieved by firstly antibodies from mother to child, obviously via breast milk or across the placenta during the pregnancy. That is your natural passive immunity. So antibodies from a mother in breast milk during pregnancy. This is natural passive. Second is getting ready-made antibodies. Ready-made antibodies that have been made by another organism, another person, basically, another organism as well. This is usually done, for example, let's say in the case of rabies or tetanus. Okay, because see the diseases in which if you cannot wait for the body to make its own antibodies, right? Because it will take days, and by the time the person will die. Okay, in tetanus, the person basically Clostridium tetani is a bacteria that causes tetanus. Is basically in if you get hurt by a nail, iron stuff, or you fall on the road, right? Wherever this bacteria is present. Okay, takes over your muscles. Okay, releases your neurotransmitter that blocks your body, causes body spasms. Okay, and then basically spasms occur in all muscles of your body, and it slowly takes over respiratory muscles as well. It's also called as blocked jaw, and then you can't breathe, and then you die. Right. So in that case, you need to have ready-made antibodies. Okay, and or let's say the example of rabies. Rabies, you can die from dehydration because you develop hydrophobia. Right. So in that case as well, you can get your ready-made antibodies from another organism. Okay, usually it's another human, but sometimes initially they used to take it from other organisms as well. This is called your artificial passive immunity. Whenever that's why when you fall on the road, they say go and get yourself the injection of tetanus, right? Because you can develop tetanus and you can die. Okay, so this is very important. It's caused by Clostridium tetani. Rabies is caused by a dog bite. Okay, and antibodies from mother to child across placenta or fetus across placenta, and then by breast milk is a natural source. But again, it's not made by your own bodies. That's why it's called passive immunity. Okay, natural why it's coming because it's coming from your mother. Okay, and you are achieving it. Okay, like across via breast milk or through across the placenta. Because it's very important. Initially, that's why they say that when the baby is born, we'll talk about this in the reproduction chapter, I think so. Yeah, a bit is there that when a baby is born, okay, the first few days, the milk that is released, it's very important for the baby's immune system. Okay, because it's yellowish in nature, color and all, and it's called colostrum, the milk of the first few days, and that's very important for developing the baby's immunity. Okay, so it's very important to feed the baby in the initial days, where it releases your colostrum basically contains your antibodies. This baby does not have any immunity of its own, right? Then initially it survives from the antibodies that are transferred across the placenta. Okay, there are different types of antibodies. I'm not going to detail because that will be beyond your scope. You have IgA, IgB, IgE, IgC. Beyond your scope, obviously, but they're very important. So the baby then, obviously, as it will grow, then only will develop antibodies will be developed. Okay. Last thing is about how disease can be controlled by vaccinations. So they've talked about different types of disease, like for example, smallpox was eradicated using vaccines. Right. So initially they start to vaccinate. Firstly, when vaccine is made using trial and error method, they start to vaccinate healthy people. Okay, like volunteers has to check what is happening. Okay, looking at the symptoms and all. Then they start to vaccinate. Like in 2-3 trials, when vaccine is approved, that okay, fine, this is working, and they start to vaccinate. First, priority is given to people who are, let's say, old age, okay, who have immunocompromised diseases, okay, who have diabetes, hypertension, asthma, COPD. Then again, it's tested for pregnant ladies, females basically, and then it's given to these type of people. And then if it's suitable for kids, then it's given to kids, and then it's given to young adults, right? Because they have very strong immune system. Okay, so they can be the last ones to get it. And then this is how immunity is also achieved. First they start to vaccinate like large number of people, and then let's say, and when the smallpox was there, so what it did, like the house that was infected, they basically vaccinated 10 houses, left, right, top, bottom from them. Okay, I'm talking about areas where houses are very close, where diseases are spread a lot. Okay, so this created basically a herd immunity or ring immunity, that everyone around them is in fact vaccinated, so disease will not be moving out. Okay, then there are also a number of people who are not getting vaccinated. For instance, okay, let's say there are 10 people over here, so who are not vaccinated as of now, but 10 people surrounding them on every side are vaccinated. So that also provides ring immunity for these people, because they will only come in contact with these people, for instance, so they will not contract the disease because these are vaccinated, right? But if they come in contact with someone outside, then they can get diseased, or they can contract a disease. This is how initially ring immunity is achieved. It's also called herd immunity, and that is slowly and gradually they vaccinate all the people. And then I think in 1987, sorry, I don't remember the year exactly when last case was there, and then it was said that world was free of smallpox. Okay, let me check the last case of smallpox. Yeah, it was in Somalia in 1977. Sorry. Yes, 1977. I remember 87. Okay. In Somalia, 1987, 77, astaghfirullah. And then 1980, the world was declared free of smallpox. Okay. So it was, that's how smallpox was eradicated. Okay, so this is how disease can be eradicated using vaccines. Then if you talk about the last thing, that is COVID. Again, COVID is a virus that basically it's called SARS-CoV-2. Okay, severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2. Okay, so virus that causes COVID. COVID is the short form, right? It's basically SARS-CoV-2. SARS is severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2. CoV is the short for coronavirus. Okay, but we remember it as COVID. Okay. Respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2. Okay, same thing happened with coronavirus. Okay. Again, it started off with China. Okay. We'll talk about what we know. Okay, no controversial stuff. Okay, so and then it spread all across the world because of people were moving from here to there. So things are recognizing where it's starting from, how is it spreading. Then closing all borders, transport systems. Okay, and then preventing posting lockdowns, testing, rapid testing. Okay, and then obviously working on the virus. That is the job of scientists. People are supposed to abide by the rules that are put enforced lockdowns. People who are affected should stay in isolation, right? So basically, this coronavirus are spherical with protein spikes sticking out. With protein spikes. COVID, Umar? Talking about COVID?
Yes, ma'am.
See, I've read it in books, so there's nothing wrong with studying about COVID. It's nothing, it's just about how it affected, and I think everyone knows we've all been through the pandemic, right? They won't specifically ask you about COVID, but if maybe they can ask you about any one feature of coronavirus, okay, or what happened during that time and how it was taken over. Because I've seen it mentioned in
Okay,
books.
ma'am.
Okay, I've not seen question as of now specific to COVID, as of that I remember now. But it's a virus, right? And viruses are included in your syllabus. All right. Then what happened? Then scientists started to work on the virus. Okay, and they were thinking about how it's spreading. You need to look at a lot of things. The incubation period, that was 14 days. Okay, and what are the disease, what are the symptoms that it's causing, and then any mutation that sorry, any mutation that it goes through. Okay, because viruses, we know they change their protein code every time they're attacking the body, right? So it's very difficult to make. I mean, almost impossible to make vaccines against COVID-19 until and unless not mutate, and it's very stable because the smallpox was very stable virus. It was not mutating. Okay. COVID, I guess there was a mutation of COVID as well. Okay, but again, vaccine was able to be made because scientists worked on it. So 2-3 things, like I told you: incubation period, symptoms, how it spread, very important. Okay, like this, it's aerosol methods. It's particles stay suspended in air. It can be spread by direct contact. Okay, if you're touching someone. If you're sneezing, coughing, okay, particles, it's droplets were the cause of spread of COVID. And again, people were told to isolate. Lockdown was placed, and scientists were working on it, and then vaccine was produced. And again, same method I told you of vaccination. Firstly, it was tested, trial and error on people. Okay, and then when it was approved that yes, it's working, it is. People also then again, yes, another thing I'm telling you, that people who recovered from COVID donated their plasma as well to people who were like very, very, very sick, who could die without the vaccine. Right, because vaccine wasn't made, and people who recovered from plasma, they recovered from COVID, they donated the plasma as well. Okay, that helped people who were affected by COVID and were in very vulnerable condition, who could die. Okay, some people sold it as well, made a lot of money by selling the plasma. Some people donated it for free as well. Okay, a lot of people died. Many people died. Okay, healthcare workers died a lot. Okay, that was the most of the people who died. Okay, then old died. Okay, kids were not that affected, but yes, there were some kids as well. Especially in conditions like when the mother in fact contracts it and she's pregnant. Okay, and let's say she delivers the baby. Okay, like in the end days, so the baby born is also COVID positive. Okay, there were small kids as well that I also know that got COVID from mother and all, right? Because you cannot put babies away from like very, very small babies away from mother, right? Because the mother has to take care of the baby, she has to feed him or her, right? So babies also contracted it. But and it's very dangerous for many very small babies who have not developed immune system. But like young adults, they have a proper developed immune system, they can defeat it. It also depends on the severity of it, right? When vaccine was in place, then slowly and gradually people were vaccinated, and I think by the end of 2023 they said that 2022, I think, yeah, start of 2023 they said that there's no more COVID now. Okay, it was basically mistaken for normal cold flu because same symptoms except for loss of taste, and everything you daily occurred very commonly: flu, fever, body pain. Loss of taste is something which you don't have very usually. Okay, but people who were vaccinated and got COVID, right? If I talk about myself, like I was vaccinated and then I got COVID because I was in contact with some people in my college who were COVID positive, right? So again, I had just high fever for I think 2 days. Okay, and no flu, nothing, no specific symptoms, just a little body pain, and and a little body pain, and yeah. Okay, so loss of taste, I think 3-5 days, and then yeah, no severe symptoms. So vaccination helps you this way. Is there any questions?
Clear.
Clear.
All right, anyone, any questions? All right, please note this down. So with this, we are done with chapter number 10 as well. All right, done.
I'm done.
Okay, great. So that's all for today. Next class, inshallah, we are going to start from chapter 11. Okay. All right, then I will see you guys in the next class, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.
Love.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.